Welcome to this special edition of the New Stack Makers on the Road. We're here at HashiConf Global in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Discussions with technologists giving you their expertise and insights to help you with your everyday work. Infrastructure enables innovation. HashiCorp provides consistent workflows to provision, secure, connect, and run any infrastructure for any application.
Hey everyone, we are at HashiConf in Los Angeles, California, and I'm here with Hila Fish, a senior DevOps engineer at Wix.
Right.
Tell us about Wix.
So Wix, first of all, it's an awesome company to work for.
Okay.
But for a user experience, it's basically a platform for building websites for either tech-savvy people or not. So whether you're, you have your ways with computer, then we provide enhanced features for you to incorporate your own code and stuff like that. And if you don't know nothing about computers, we talk you through how to build a website, which is very sophisticated, very professional. And you don't need to know anything about computers in order to achieve a great result. So,
which must make for a complex back end, but we'll get to that in a second. What we want to cover today is a little bit about how do you make the most of Terraform when scaling your infrastructure as your organization grows. How have you done that? Best practices, some pitfalls to avoid, and what you need to do to keep scaling across your teams and avoid refactoring so you can keep the integrations elegant and working. My first question that I'd like to ask is, what version of Terraform are you using right now?
Nice one. Currently, we're using 0.14. It's not nice, I know, but since we use Terraform across the entire company, although there are versions defined per folder, which I can elaborate in a bit. Still, we want to have like an aligned way of using Terraform, so that's why mostly we use Terraform 0.13, but 14. But some places are with 1.0. So
okay,
but we plan to upgrade.
What's the latest version of Terraform right now?
1.4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe 1.4. Why have you not gone from 0.14 to 0.14 to 1.0 and then beyond that?
So usually when you want, as a system engineer in my background and now DevOps engineer, the thing is that we don't want to rock the boat too much if we don't have to. And when you want to upgrade is because there are security fixes or there are features that you gotta have. So we don't have that at the moment. We have not that basic modules, but we have, the versions that we currently use fulfill our needs. So that's why we are not very eager to upgrade, because there isn't like any holy grail feature that we gotta have in order to fulfill something that we want to, implement a use case of some sort. So that's the reason. And, there are a lot of things to do, and upgrades and stuff like that is usually something in the backlog, but I'm trying to push it because, as long as the versions will be progressed, then there will be a greater support for that version as opposed to older versions. So I'm trying to push, but, company needs comes first. And if there are new features that needs to be implemented, that this takes precedence.
So when did you start using Terraform?
2000, let me think, 18.
2018.
Yeah.
So how has your use of Terraform evolved since 2018?
Wow, a lot. So at first I used Terraform as an ad hoc tool. So like, I need to achieve this, I need to achieve that. And at first when I just started out, I thought, okay, this is what Terraform is for, right? But no, once I evolved in my career and in my role, I understood that infrastructure should always evolve and scale, because we want to allow projects to get introduced to our day-to-day in for the company. And, in order to allow projects to introduce, we need to allow the tools to make that happen. And Terraform allows you to do that, because if you want to scale your infrastructure, you need to use Terraform in a way that will allow you to do that. So, for example, if I want to create a machine as opposed to several machines, I can ad hoc is just create a resource, but infrastructure enabling, infrastructure scaling, is to create a module that will allow you to recreate machines all over again with a single module call. So that's the thing. You need to use it in a way that will allow you to scale up as much as you can.
And scale back.
Of course.
Right. And so was that the initial reason for it? Like, was Wix in a point of high growth in 2018? Was the company just beginning? I don't know how old the company is.
Actually, I joined Wix just a year ago.
Oh, you joined it a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I used Terraform in my two previous companies. And then when I joined, I saw that, everything is, very well maintained and implemented here. And it was very good to know because Wix, that's the reason why I joined Wix. They have a very good engineering group and department. So that's why I joined, because I want to work with the best. And then when I saw that it actually got implemented as I thought it would be, then I'm like, okay, that's good. I don't have too much to refactor or too much things to change, because the infrastructure for Terraform, and Terraform is a platform, as I like to say it, was already there. So I can just use it in the best way possible.
So what is that best way possible that you want to use Terraform? So
there are ways to structure your Terraform code base. You can do it with a lot of things. You can use workspace. You can avoid using workspaces, but you want to use it in a way that will allow everyone to use it in your company. And more teams, you want to onboard new teams to use Terraform as well, and to do it in a way that each individual has its own way of doing things, and you don't want to allow that too much. You want to give them independence, but you want to make sure that the code will be in a high quality state and follow some standards. So that way, it's actually something that I cover in my talk at HashiConf as well, is that you can structure the Terraform code base in a way that will allow onboarding of new teams, because of how you structure the code base. So you can start with the root tree level would be team name, and then project, and then the cloud provider, and then the region. And that way there is a new team that, created in the company, no problem. You just create a new folder, and then they basically reuse the same modules that they are already there in the code base. And also there's something else that I'm covering, which is called practices enforcement, which we use GitHub Actions to do all sort of things. But you can, for example, I want to make sure that every developer or DevOps engineer that creates something in the cloud has tags attached to it, right? Because we want to make sure cost management is in control and we can follow up on things. And sometimes people forget to add tags. So if there are practices enforcement in place, like we do have, then it means that a PR, when I open a PR, a pull request on GitHub, then the PR will fail if I didn't add tags, for example.
Okay.
So you can do whatever you want, any guidelines that you feel is best for your company with these practices enforcement. And that's why we set it up to make sure that it doesn't matter how many people are using Terraform, unless, since they use the same code base like we do, and the practices enforcement are in place, then we are at ease that they use it in, there are guardrails, basically, to make sure that they use it in the best way possible.
So you're using it for team onboarding as one use for it. I mean, it allows for team onboarding that allows you to kind of get more people onto it pretty easily, right? You're using GitHub Actions with it. What are some of the other use cases that you're using Terraform for? What are some of the for example, what are some of the integrations that you have with other third parties that fit into the architecture?
So we have Terraform to create the infrastructure, and then when I open a PR, we have integration with Atlantis, which is an open source tool for PR automation for Terraform. So I open a PR, Atlantis automatically runs in the background and runs Terraform plan. I see the plan, everything looks good. Then I do Atlantis apply, doing the GitHub comments, and then two things happen. Both the Terraform apply gets happening, and it gets implemented, and the resources gets created in the cloud. But also the side branch gets merged to main. And why is it important? Because it prevents drifts. And if you only use Terraform in a remote execution way, like we did, then it means that you have no drifts and no differences between what you have in the code as opposed to what you have in the actual environment, because no one ran it like outside of the remote execution.
Okay. So what is Atlantis then?
Open source tool for Terraform pull request automation.
Okay. Do you use any other integrations, for instance, with other third-party vendors? Do you host your own? Do you use a cloud service?
Yeah, we host our resources and all our infrastructure on AWS.
Okay.
Also on some occasions on GCP, but mostly on AWS. So we use, of course, the AWS provider on Terraform to create everything on AWS. But other than that, tools as tools, not so much. Only the Atlantis one.
Okay, great. So what are some of the pitfalls you found in using Terraform?
Okay, so Terraform has like its own timeout, which you can define, but I think that most people don't define it. So if you create resources that will make Terraform wait for the API call to get happening, like if I create a VM that rely on spot instances to happen, and spot instances rely on the price that I pay for the host, then if the price wasn't right, I need to wait. So when I just started out with Terraform, I did Control-C when Terraform apply ran, and it's not good. It will mess up your state. And I don't know if they fixed it or not, but this is a joke that I have on my talk that I don't want to find out, because it could be very ugly to mess up your state like that, because it's very hard to recover if you don't have a backup in place. So you should always treat Terraform state as like something you don't touch. You can have backups, that's good, but you don't change the state manually, because you can't. It could get messy. So this is one example. Workspaces also, again, I'm talking about Terraform open source mainly. Terraform Cloud and Enterprise, of course, they have their own implementations and enhanced features. But in open source, Terraform Workspace could be sometimes tricky. And I used Workspaces in my previous company, and we had to. How do you use Workspaces? With the CLI, Terraform Workspace Select X. Like manually change the workspace. So if I forgot to do the switch, then I could potentially harm my production environment, because I applied the Terraform code on the wrong workspace. So that's why we had a Terraform, like a CLI wrapper that did the switch of the workspaces for me, to make sure that there are no human errors and I have the computer to worry about that. So there are things to be careful when you work with Terraform, to make sure that you really use it in a way that doesn't get back to you after it.
So what's next for Wix using Terraform?
So currently we are actually, I'm not sure if I can talk about it, because I'm not sure if it's official or not. We are taking it to the next level and having Terraform more as a backend, and have our the UI will be a bit different, and we have a different tool that will allow developers that don't know anything about Terraform to still create Terraform code, which will get created in the background, but they have a very much simpler UI to do that.
Why are you doing that?
To allow even more people to use Terraform, and not only people that know Terraform code, because it is a language of its own. Of course, if you think about developers, they write much more complex code, and so Terraform code should be easier for them. But some developers don't want to learn, or think, it's too simple for them to grasp the differences between how to implement infrastructure code as opposed to application code. So we want to make things easier for them.
So these are application engineers and application developers, and not necessarily platform engineers or DevOps teams. These are the people who are building out apps on the front end.
Right. So if, for example, they built an application, they want to test it out and they need to deploy it, then we will allow them to do that through this UI and then just, apply it, destroy it afterwards because it's only a test, and that's it. And that way we enable them to progress and to move forward without having to wait for me to create the infrastructure for them.
Excellent. Hila, thank you so much for taking the time to talk. I will just add that I did watch your one of your videos from HashiCorp in Europe, I believe, where you spoke, and I learned that you're lead singer in a cover band, so that's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
So we'd ask you to sing, but we'll maybe another time.
No problem.
Thanks.
You can, if you check my YouTube channel, you can find a lot of videos of me.
Oh, great. All right. We'll have to find one of those and place it in the story. All right. Thank you so much, Hila.
Thank you.
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on all the major social media platforms. You can always find us at thenewstack.io. We hope to see you soon.